deal with airplane peanuts.
Comic Shane Gillis out at SNL after just a few days amid a firestorm of criticism.
I was on a train going to the stand.
Yeah, I've heard this.
And just getting canceled in between stops. And then the next stop, I'd be like, holy shit. And then the next stop, I was like, I don't remember saying that. I didn't say that.
If you say something like that, you can't work in a sketch show, but like it's okay from what? He can work in a lumber yard?
Yeah.
You know? He's certainly going to meet more Asians there, right? Then on SNL, it's a joke about how SNL's not hiring Asians.
Yeah, but also...
Now I'm in trouble?
Yeah.
We're not running for office. When is this going to end?
5 years after being brutally fired from Saturday Night Live in one of the wildest series of events ever heard, Shane Gillis will officially be making his long-debated return to SNL as the host of the show later this month.
I went into Lorne Michaels' office, and I was convinced I was getting fired. Because if they didn't get me on that, there's so much more. So much worse. He's like, if we just get you to the first episode, like, people will see you're not a piece of person.
Saturday Night Live hiring Shane Gillis after asking him to audition, only then to turn around and publicly fire him hours later after uncovering a clip from Shane's podcast that contained what they described as offensive, hurtful, and unacceptable jokes, is a story that's been told many times and most people are aware of by now. But the thought that Shane Gillis would one day get so big on his own that he would return to SNL as the host of the show after being ruthlessly canceled online used to only be a hypothetical pipe dream brought up by day one fans who believe that Shane would eventually reach this point. But those same fans would still debate if he should even give SNL the satisfaction when that day comes. Now that this dream has become a reality, 99% of the comedy world is ecstatic for Shane, as this is not only the ultimate form of vindication after his unjust termination, but also because real comedians hosting SNL is always a win. However, there's still a small group of dogs online who would have rather seen Shane give SNL the ultimate middle finger by rejecting this gig as a form of revenge. And although that would have made plenty of headlines, the chance to host Saturday Night Live is still basically impossible to pass up. Not only when you think about the class of fellow comedians to ever receive this offer, but also considering the ability for a gig like this to raise your public profile even more. And just because Shane accepted this job does not mean revenge of some kind is out of the question.
If I ever get on SNL, I will Bud Dwyer. I'll be like, live from my mouth, this fucking gun.
Most eyes will be on Shane's opening monologue, as fellow comedians and fans alike seem to be rooting for Shane Gillis to double down on stage and really expose SNL for not actually having any morals or comedic values of their own, which was showcased when they fired a comedian for an Asian joke while also having 0 Asian cast members in their 45-year history, confirming that these corporations don't really care about problematic comments until it affects their bottom line. This behavior is not new when it comes to SNL, as the same thing happened when legendary comedian Norm Macdonald was fired from his role on the show and brought back to host just 1 year later, with a vengeance that resulted in comedy gold.
How did I go in a year and a half from being not funny enough to be even allowed in the building to being so funny that I'm now hosting the show? How did I suddenly get so damn funny? Then it occurred to me, I haven't gotten funnier. The show has gotten really bad.
Plenty of fans online have already drawn a comparison between Norm's iconic monologue and the opportunity Shane has to follow in the footsteps of one of his favorite comics.
Just reached out. He sent me some cool stuff about, like, funny will win.
Yeah.
That was the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He was
amazing.
like, there's a war right. I don't want to spill the beans on a nice thing, but it was like,
You guys had a private thing.
yeah, it was cool.
But
and
he
it
was
ended,
very supportive
yeah,
when you were
and
going
he
through your
spoke
stuff.
like poetically.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it ended, one of the messages ended with like, in a war for comedy, I think the ones with jokes will win. I was just like, yo,
Yeah.
That's fire.
Norm Macdonald is king.
Aside from the opening monologue and this story coming full circle, another reason to actually watch SNL February 24th is because this will likely be one of their best episodes in a long time, strictly based on the fact that Shane Gillis is elite at sketch writing and acting. Compared to the normal celebrity guests featured on SNL, getting to work with a legitimate sketch comedian must be a relief for their entire staff.
Your sketches that you're doing, those are the best
comedy sketches that are on the internet right now.
This will likely be one of the only episodes of Saturday Night Live that I'll consider watching live this season. Shane Gillis putting up big viewership numbers could possibly open the door to other massive comedians that are outside the SNL bubble like Theo Von or Tim Dillon. And like we've seen in this video, whatever makes the most money is what Saturday Night Live is going to be doing from here on out, which probably means there are multiple more Shane appearances to come. Another thing that's probable to happen is a boatload of inflammatory articles written before and after Shane's episode that will likely quote jokes as literal statements and draw wild conclusions, which is a testament and a drawback to Shane Gillis's name being able to generate so many clicks.
If you go back 15 years in somebody's life, someone should then go back 15 years in your life and then find
Going off what Bill Burr said in that clip, the guy who originally tweeted the clip that got Shane Gillis fired is named Seth Simmons, and he deleted 7,000 of his own tweets that same day, which is a lot of racist tweets. Guest spots from last week: The Joe Rogan Experience had on Jeff Dye, Two Bears One Cave was Bert and Tom, Tom and Bert, Kill Tony was joined by Giannis Pappas and Harland Williams, Godfried was on We Might Be Drunk, Brad Williams was on Are You Garbage, YMH spoke with Joe DeRosa, Andrew Santino went on Soder, Richard Jefferson was on Chrissy Chaos, and Rob Riggle was a guest on Whiskey Ginger.
No, speaking of which, I saw a billboard last night at one of those LED trucks of kids who have been abducted, and a few of them I recognized. A few of those guys, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, some of the guys that I think, because I'm a part of a kid kidnapping.
When you said LED truck, I didn't know what you meant.
Oh, yeah.
So I was envisioning like one of those Escalades that have the glow underneath.
No. This wasn't a party bus in Vegas.
That's what I said.
This was just
That's the first thing that
screens.
popped in my mind.
Yeah, but a few of the kids I had seen, because I'm part of a group of people that kidnap kids, and it's nice that some of our top picks were on the board.
They're finally getting the billing.
This past weekend with Theo Von talked with Tim Dillon. Lemaire Lee, Sean Gardini, and Nate Marshall were all on Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. Ari Shafir was on the Wayback Podcast. Tosh talked with his car guy. David Drake was on Being Ian with Jordan. The Blocks Podcast had on David Keckner. Lil Rel Howery was on Tiger Belly. Steve Ranazizi went on You Know What Dude. Bertcast talked with Doug Williams. First Date talked to Esther Pavitsky. And Taste Buds returned with their first episode of the year, Triscuits vs. Wheat Thins.
It's there's good energy so far in here. It feels good. It feels right. It feels like we could probably scream at each other in here and get away with it, right?
Yeah, well, we're going to find out.
As far as new stand-up comedy specials are either out right now or coming out soon, Jeff Dunham, I'm With Cupid is out right now on Comedy Central. Kevin James has a new special titled Irregardless that's out on Prime Video. And there's a few new projects out on YouTube as well, including Nate Jackson's Crowdwork Joint and Des Bishop of All People.
And even though I've done comedy a long time, I've actually hardly ever performed in the United States before 2015. So for the first time in my life, I'm performing here at the Comedy Cellar with a lot of black comics. Not a lot of diversity in the Irish comedy scene. Here, a lot of black comics, love working with them, and every single one that I met told me that as far as they are concerned, Desmond Bishop is a very black name. Now, I never knew I had a black name. I knew that Desmond Bishop was a linebacker for the Green Bay Packers because every time he fucked up about 12 years ago, my Twitter would light up with angry people from Wisconsin being like, "You fat fuck, you should have blocked that guy." And I'd be like, "That's not me. I'm a skinny white guy. That's Des Bishop 55. If you want to find him, he's Des Bishop 55.
There's also more than a few specials that are in the works right now that will be coming out soon, including Taylor Tomlinson Have It All, which premieres February 13th, and Mike Epps Ready to Sell Out on February 20th. Aside from the huge Shane Gillis SNL news, he also just signed a contract with Bud Light. There's already been about 1 million big-time news stories related to the comedy world this year. From Mark Norman's show evacuation stunt to Joe Rogan's massive new deal with Spotify, and even the new Two Bears vodka brand, we're gonna be covering it all right here. And if you're trying to stay in the comedy loop, there's never been a better time to subscribe to Joke World. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you don't have anything going on right now after this, feel free to check out our end screen. There's 2 more great video choices for you right there. Thanks for watching.
At Joke World. That's it, at Joke World.
And the world is WRLD.
That's a great YouTube channel, Joke World. Check it out.